turtles are probably animals.
Because they're adorable.
Because they're adorable. But a snake?
Nah.
Not an animal. Frogs are too slimy to be animals, so they're out. And fish are weird because they don't breathe air, so they're not animals.
Okay. Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Kristie.
And I'm Josh. We've got some more great Reddit stories for you today, so let's jump right in.
Am I the asshole for not changing my daughter's wedding venue even though my sister's husband proposed to his 22-year-old mistress there last month?
Wow, okay. You say your sister's ex-husband?
It doesn't say ex, but I'm assuming ex because he's proposing to someone else.
Yeah, sorry, I heard you say husband. I'm like, wait. I'm hoping there's an ex in there somewhere. Well, ex-husband's an ass, I can tell you that much. It kind of sounds like you've maybe had it reserved for longer than a month, though. So you're probably not the asshole?
I, 51 female, put down a $20,000 non-refundable deposit on this gorgeous beachfront estate for my daughter, let's call her Amy, 26 females, wedding next September.
$20,000 just for the deposit?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a fancy wedding.
Apparently.
It's cost more than our whole wedding budget.
The deposit did.
Yeah, the deposit is more than our whole wedding budget. We booked it 18 months out. For context, and without revealing too much, it's the venue in our area, and it has been Amy's dream wedding spot in all of her Pinterest boards.
At $20,000 deposit, I have to hope that it is the destination in your area.
Last month, my sister, let's call her Carol, 53 female, found out her cheating ex-husband, let's call him Mark, 55 male, proposed to his coworker, 28 female. She was 22 when they started having an affair, who he had been having an affair with.
Wait, how long were they divorced for? Did they say that yet?
They did not, but somewhere later they say like 5 years.
Oh.
The woman posted engagement photos from the same venue, specifically the beautiful beach area where Amy plans to have her ceremony. Carol is obviously destroyed. She called me sobbing, begging me to change venues. She says she can't watch Amy get married where Mark proposed to a girl younger than his own daughter. Can't smile for photos on that beach. I feel sick for her, I do, but $20,000 non-refundable deposit, save the dates have already been sent, Amy's dreamed of this wedding venue since high school, everything else is booked or 3 times the price.
3 times the price?
Well, I guess they're having a fancy wedding. Anything that lives up to their standards, and at this, not as far out from the wedding, it's going to be more expensive.
Sorry, sometimes when we read these, I realize how poor we are.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Like, geez, I wish I was this rich.
I feel like Amy needs to go and fight with her ex-uncle.
Well, it is the romantic spot, so you understand why the ex-uncle proposed to his mistress there.
He proposed to her and got their engagement photos there. There's probably a good chance that he didn't know that they were having the wedding there.
Yeah, probably. And it just sounds like it's the romantic spot, so, it's just coincidence.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I told Carol I can't lose $20,000 and crush Amy's dreams because Mark is trash. Carol says I'm choosing money over her mental health, that I'm forcing her to relive the worst betrayal of her life for pretty pictures. I also talked to Amy about it, and she does not want a venue change. That it's not her fault Mark, who has been out of all of our lives for the last 5 years, ruined that place for Carol. Carol called Amy a spoiled brat who wouldn't understand real pain.
Okay, well, you're sure not making it hard for everybody to uninvite you from the wedding.
Now Carol's skipping Thanksgiving. My and Carol's side of the family, her daughters, and to some extent my parents, say I'm heartless. The place is cursed anyways. Why should we host Amy's big day there? My husband's side of the family says Carol doesn't get to hijack Amy's wedding because her husband is a cheater. Am I the asshole for not switching venues?
I feel like with a $20,000 deposit on the line, unless your sister is gonna pay for the new venue, you're not the asshole.
I feel like this is Amy's dream venue.
Yes.
This is Amy's day. The aunt is extremely entitled asking Amy to change it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, you could just have said, I can't go.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Also, she's been divorced for 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if you are still this distraught over your husband proposing to someone, your ex-husband proposing to someone, it might be time to get therapy.
A little past.
It's past time to get therapy because why is your ex-husband, who has been out of your life for 5 years, dictating your actions and emotions so much to the point that you're like throwing a fit over your niece's wedding.
She's clearly still Facebook stalking him, right?
Yeah, she is very still stuck on this husband.
Yeah, she shouldn't be. It's been 5 years. You gotta move on. I bet everyone else in the family did.
Like, I don't know if I'm just not that sentimental. I would still, like, be very angry with my ex-husband, but I don't know if him proposing, like, the location he proposed would ruin that location for me, and I could never attend any events there ever again.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I had a significant memory with him at that location, then I might be like, hey, can we not? Back before you reserve the location. But now that we've been divorced for 5 years, I kind of don't care as much.
That's a good point. If you and your ex-husband have a significant memory of that location, I could understand that. But him and his new mistress having a significant memory of that location?
No.
Yeah, him and his new fiancé have a significant memory. I'd be like, who cares?
Yeah.
They're not a part of my life anymore. They shouldn't be.
They should not be.
Top comment, Carol has had 5 years. It is sad that the wounds are fresh and deep, but it isn't your daughter's issue to repair. NTA. Tell her you'd rather pay for some therapy for her than lose the $20,000. She needs it. 5 years, let's move on.
Yeah, that's a lot cheaper, I bet.
If it's that traumatic, then she can just not go. I'm sure everyone will understand or not care.
I would understand. I mean, I had plenty of aunts and uncles that just didn't come to our wedding for worse reasons than that.
They just didn't want to travel that far.
Yeah, they didn't want to travel, 2 hours?
Yeah. Okay, my family, it was a lot of people didn't want to travel 6 hours, get a hotel. I understand that. But your family, it was 2 hours.
They're old. I have old family.
Someone else points out that it might just be better for the aunt to not come. I would rather not have her there than ruin it while there, pissing and moaning about how sad her life is and how selfish you all are. She would ruin the whole day for everyone. And I'm like, yeah, she would. I think just at this point, just uninvite her. Because it is so traumatic for her. I don't want your mental health to suffer, so maybe you just shouldn't come.
That's for the best, you're right.
Because she's gonna ruin it.
She's gonna ruin it. She's gonna whine the whole time. I'm sorry that this worked out so poorly for you, Aunt Carol, but yeah, it's probably best if you don't come.
Also the thing, Carol called Amy a spoiled brat for not changing her venue. I think Aunt Carol's a spoiled brat for asking her to change the venue.
Yeah. What are you doing? You can't ask somebody to change their venue because somebody you haven't been with for 5 years was there.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta figure out some way to ruin it for him in the future.
Yeah.
Like, take such good photos that they can't match and post them all over Facebook. Am I the asshole for banning my wife's Disney divorce friends plugins from our house?
Disney divorce friend?
Yes.
What are plugins?
That's also a mystery.
I'm so confused. I have no opinion on this, because what the heck does that even mean?
I clicked on this one initially because I could not understand that headline.
What does that title even mean?
My wife's friend Melissa, 49 female, is staying with us for a few weeks while she sorts her life out. We have a large home and we are very happy to have house guests. She's leaving her husband after 25 years of marriage because she wants to move to LA and work at Disneyland.
Oh, and husband is not down with this life change of becoming a Disney employee.
That is my assumption.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess follow your dreams, but that's a weird dream to give up your marriage for.
This sounds like the plot of a bad sitcom, but I'm afraid it's real. Both she and her husband are equally culpable for the failure of their marriage and really bring out the worst in one another. Their relationship has been in a state for as long as I've known them.
It wasn't a strong marriage to begin with.
Yeah, she's like, you know what? I'm going to go to Disneyland and not come back. The problem is, Melissa showed up with an arsenal of room scents and sprays and plugins. The smell, teenage girl with a side of forever chemicals, oh, Disneyland, has completely taken over the hallway, the family bathroom, my office, and even down 2 flights of stairs into the foyer, drawing room, and living room. It's strong, it's nasty, and it's made of and smells like all the chemicals that we avoid.
Okay, so nasty air fresheners. That's not okay.
If your house smells bad.
Yeah, but they're used to it because they live there. They're nose blind to their own smells, and she moved in as like, dear God, it stinks in here.
It doesn't smell like air freshener. Sidebar. We've been cleansing ourselves of chemical nasties and have curated our home to smell clean and subtle. It's part of what makes it feel like home, Now it just smells like Teen Spirit.
Okay.
What does Teen Spirit smell like? I know that's a song.
Yeah. Axe body spray.
I guess so.
I don't know.
Melissa is genuinely lovely and in a vulnerable spot, and I don't want to make her feel unwelcome, but it's our house, and this is something we've been intentional about. However, outside of our personal feelings about plugins, it feels really out there to rock up in someone else's house and decide to bring your own plugin scents to totally change the smell of the house. I mentioned how strong the smell was, assuming it was a room spray, and how it was overtaking every room. She said, yeah, the plugins are pretty strong. I was so shocked I asked her to remove them. I opened up with a sensitive ask, hey, those room sprays are pretty strong, would you mind keeping the door closed if you're using them? And spiraled a bit when I heard her say plugins, plural.
Multiple. How strong a scent does she need?
She went nose blind to a single one.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point.
My wife told me I was being an asshole for making her uncomfortable when she was going through a lot, and that I could bitch to her about it, but it was over the line to ask her to stop. I was incredulous that she thought it was okay to change the scent of our house. Am I the asshole here, like my wife says? I feel pretty justified in my complaint.
I'm going not the asshole, and that just might be because I'm so sensitive to smells. Like, I changed my deodorant scent because my scent was too expensive, and I was like, I'll just get a cheaper one. And for a week, all I could smell was this new deodorant scent, and it was so overstimulating. I was constantly, like, on edge for a week until I got used to the smell, just because the smell was, new smell, overwhelming. I don't know, it might be an autism thing. I do not like change, but it was so overwhelming, and it might be a sensory issue, I don't know. But people can be very sensitive to smells, and like rocking up in someone's house with a whole arsenal of scents is a little bit rude, I feel.
It does seem like she's one of those people that have just gone nose blind to like a really strong scent.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever go into someone's house and it just stinks of curry?
Yes.
And they're like, it doesn't smell that strongly.
And yeah, it does.
It does, I'm sorry.
I know people with dogs who have their house smells like dog and they don't realize it, and I really hope that's not us, but
Probably is.
It probably is. So yeah, she's just gone nose blind to all of her fragrances and needs all of them so that she can smell anything. But yeah, I do feel like she's rude, and it would not be rude of him to be like, hey, could you unplug them? The smells are a little overwhelming. You know, it's his house.
Yeah.
I don't think that's too big of an ask.
It seems a little extreme to me to be changing the scent of someone else's house.
Mm-hmm.
You could maybe get away with your own room in the house, but once it escapes...
Yes, it is permeating the whole entire household, that you gotta stop.
Yeah, you become a bit of the asshole. Edit. To address the frequently asked questions. The plugins are already gone. The conversation pivoted from, could you please keep the door closed when you spray the room, to, can you please remove the plugins? She apologized and removed them immediately. Oh.
Okay, so what's the issue? Well, his wife thinks he's an asshole, which is the issue.
Bringing it up in the first place.
But she was like, okay, yeah, sure, and removed the plugins. So she's being reasonable about it.
I also spotted, after writing this post, that the intake vent for the central air was about 12 feet from where one of the plugins was. This explains how the whole house got gunked up so quickly. The smell still hasn't gone 24 hours later.
Gotta open up those windows and air it out.
Yeah, you're just circulating it.
Yeah.
In the part of the conversation where the plugins were revealed, my wife informs me that my facial expressions were all over the place. A mix of shock and disgust. I maintained a friendly but firm tone when I asked her to remove them, explained my reasoning clearly. I kept the conversation by saying I hated the smell of them, which was unkind and deeply unhelpful. In my defense, I genuinely do hate the smell, and I was so thoroughly flabbergasted that an adult would think that this is okay to do, that I made an unguarded comment.
Okay, so sounds like he was caught off guard and shocked and did not...
Yeah.
did not pay attention to what his face was doing, and maybe was not the most polite in telling her to please get rid of the plugins.
Yeah, it does not...
So, he might be the asshole for how he asked her, but I don't think he's the asshole for, just asking in general.
Yeah, I love that the wife's like, no, you were making a face.
Yeah.
Top comment. Not the asshole. She's making you uncomfortable in your home. Pretty straightforward there.
Yeah.
Reddit's mostly not the asshole. I do like this everyone sucks here, though. She should take the plugins out if they bother you. That being said, the Disneyland comment and insults to her likes is over the top and has nothing to do with the story other than trying to make her look bad. I'm not sure if I believe you asked her in a polite way. Maybe try being a little less judgmental. And in that edit, we learned he probably did not ask her in a polite way.
Yeah, what the heck did her living her dream of working at Disneyland have to do with the rest of this?
No, it sounds like she got divorced and decided now's a good time to go, I want to go work at Disneyland.
Yeah.
You're right. That was a little just added in there.
Why did he need to add that in? It seems judgmental. That person's right.
Does not like Disney adults.
Yeah.
Where's your Stitch mug?
I don't know, but...
You should just take a big sip. Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, hit that subscribe button.
Your support really means a lot to us, so thanks. Am I the asshole for sending my brother a $12,000 bill after he borrowed my car and wrecked it on a joyride?
Kind of sounds like that must be your repair bill. Oh, well, it's probably scrapped. Who are we kidding? It sounds like he wrecked your car, so he got a bill. I don't know how you're the asshole in that situation.
I, 28 female, have been saving for years to buy my dream car, a fully restored 1967 Mustang. I finally bought it 8 months ago. It's basically my baby. I barely even drive it because I want to keep it pristine. Last weekend, my younger brother, 24 male, came to visit. He's always been the fun sibling. Life of the party, always pulling stunts. I love him, but he's impulsive and doesn't think things through. I went to bed early Friday night because I had work the next morning. When I woke up, my car was gone. I called him and he laughed and said, "Relax, I just took it for a spin." Well, it turns out that spin involved racing some of his friends down a back road. He lost control, went into a ditch, and smashed the entire front end. The repair estimate came back at just over $12,000. Insurance won't cover it because he wasn't an authorized driver.
What? I don't know where they're located. Is there insurance that doesn't just let you...
Anyone who's driving your car?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ours covers drivers, licensed drivers that drive our cars.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
But it also might not cover it because he was reckless driving.
Yeah.
I told him he had to pay for the repairs. He said he doesn't have that kind of money and that it was just a stupid mistake. My parents are begging me not to make him pay because he's struggling financially and family comes first. I didn't listen. I had a lawyer draft a formal repayment agreement and now my brother is furious. He says I'm ruining his life over a car, and my family is calling me heartless. I told him that if he'd owned up immediately and offered anything towards fixing it, I might have let it slide. But the fact that he stole it, wrecked it, and laughed about it? No. So now there's a huge rift in the family. My parents say I'm overreacting. My brother says he's cutting contact. And I'm sitting here wondering if maybe I really am being petty. Am I the asshole?
No, you're not the asshole. Brother's clearly the asshole. He wrecked your car and doesn't want to pay for it.
We know who the golden child is, though, because that's who the parents are siding with.
Right.
It was just a stupid mistake. Don't ruin his life over it by making him pay $12,000 to repair the car that he wrecked. I don't think that's ruining his life. And if it is, it's not her ruining his life. It's him ruining his life with his own stupid mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, he could set up a payment plan. It sounds like maybe a lawyer did try to set up a payment plan. He needs to get his act together. What can I say? Like, if he needs to declare bankruptcy over this, then he can figure out how to reset his debt from there. Although nowadays, I don't think you can just reset your debt with bankruptcy. Who joyrides in the morning?
Right? That's weird.
That's super weird.
Maybe it's out in the country. She did say back roads, and there's nothing else to do, so that's what you do in the country.
No, you joyride at night in the country like normal people.
And hit a deer?
Yeah, you can't hit the deer at any time of day.
But they're crepuscular. You're less likely to hit them in the middle of the day.
The idea that you got up before your working sister on a work day to go joyriding is just, I can't get past that part.
No, it's a Saturday morning.
Oh, it was a Saturday morning? Still. Well, unless he was like out all night. It's super lame.
Yeah.
Who just goes and gets their friends in the morning and it's like, let's go joyriding. You do that at night so the police are less likely to turn up. It's crazy.
Top comment, NTA, your brother didn't just make a mistake. He stole your car, drove recklessly, destroyed it, and then laughed about it. The $12,000 bill is the direct consequence of his choices, not you being heartless. Family doesn't mean enabling someone's irresponsibility. If anything, Holding him accountable might be the only way he learns. OP replies, exactly this, thank you. I think what's frustrating me the most is how my family is framing this like I'm punishing him for just a mistake, when in reality it was theft, reckless driving, and zero remorse. If I'd done something like that to his property, I'd fully expect to pay for it. I'm not trying to ruin his life, but I refuse to let him think there are no consequences. Someone else replied to that, he's lucky you didn't get him on grand theft. I know I'd be going scorched earth on him if I was in your shoes. And yeah, she could have had him arrested for car theft.
Right? Yeah, especially after he wrecked it. I mean, your insurance would cover it then.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Theft is covered. Yeah, the lack of remorse after doing a mistake that big is awful. That really seals the deal there.
OP also says, family comes first shouldn't translate to, you have to fund his irresponsibility. If my parents feel that strongly, they're more than welcome to cover the cost themselves. I'm just tired of being made the bad guy for not wanting to lose thousands of dollars over something he chose to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really see any part where you're the asshole here.
Your brother's definitely an asshole. Don't steal cars.
Yeah, don't borrow cars from your siblings to go joyriding. Especially antique ones. Because those are more expensive to repair.
Yeah.
Harder to insure. There's a lot that makes those more expensive.
Reddit completely agrees she's not the asshole and her brother sucks.
Yeah, it sounds like she just drives this thing to, car shows and parks it in the parking lot and looks at it.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for telling my best friend I understood why his fiancé is so disappointed that he proposed to her at the gym?
Proposal at a gym? Unless, that's where you met, and, you have a sweet story about meeting there, and, she's, totally into it. That is the worst place to... Well, not the worst. I'm sure there's worse. But that is a bad place to propose.
I, 27 female, was excited when my best friend, 27 male, told me he had proposed to his girlfriend, 29 female. He said he had the proposal on video. I was so confused when the video started out in women's gym.
Yeah, that would... I'd be like, why are we here?
It was a woman's gym? Even?
I don't know.
What was he doing there?
I don't know.
When I saw his girlfriend on an exercise machine in the video, I had a bad feeling. She looked so shocked, and she said yes. She only looked happy for 2 minutes, and the rest of the time she gave an insincere smile.
Yeah, you're like, this is awkward. Okay, this isn't great, but okay.
My best friend expressed frustration that his fiancée had confessed she wasn't happy with the proposal after he asked her why she looked so sad. He was venting to me and asked how I'd feel if a guy proposed to me while I was at the gym. I guess he really expected me to agree with him, but I said I would hate it. I said I don't want to be proposed to when I'm sweaty and stinky at the gym. I basically explained to him that I understood why she was disappointed. My best friend called me shallow and a bad friend. Am I the asshole?
You're not the asshole. He's a bad boyfriend, now fiance. That is a terrible proposal. You're supposed to make sure that, get her best friend to be like, hey, let's go get manicures this week. So she's got her nails done nice. So when she gets the engagement ring, she can take nice pictures. You're supposed to be like, hey, maybe could you put on a cute dress for our date tonight? Let's get dressed up a little bit for our date so that she looks pretty when you propose to her.
I didn't do any of those things.
No, you didn't.
Was I supposed to do those things?
No, but I am also not a girly girl. I'd never... The one time I've had a manicure and got my nails done was for our wedding. That's it. So not a girly girl. It wasn't that important to me. But most girls, it's important to. And you make sure that they look pretty when they're being proposed to. You gotta get their best friend in on it and make sure that they, got all this stuff done to be beautiful when they're proposed to, especially if you are videoing it.
Okay, I didn't video it, so I do have that going for me. You can't prove that you weren't dressed up.
So he did the opposite of all of that. He waited until she looked her worst. Hair up in a messy ponytail and sweaty with no makeup, wearing gym clothes, not a pretty dress or anything. That is the worst she probably looks, besides maybe rolling out of bed first thing in the morning. I don't know. It's a toss-up between those two on which one you look worse at. So he did a bad job.
I don't think he's a bad boyfriend or a fiance for doing a bad proposal. Mm-hmm. He's just a dumbass.
Yes. But how he's reacting to her disappointment is not cool.
He might get it through his head.
Mhm.
You're not a bad friend for telling it to him straight. That's what friends are for. You can rely on a friend to say, hey, you're being kind of a dumbass here, and you need to stop.
Yes.
I'm saying this out of love. Maybe do a do-over.
Yes, because, okay, he's not the asshole.
I mean, he's the asshole. He's just not a bad boyfriend.
He should have figured out what kind of proposal his girlfriend wanted. They should have been he should have been feeling her out about this. Do you want a public proposal? Do you want private? Do you want...
Oh, yeah, this is public, but, with gym people.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like he's a bad boyfriend for not finding out what kind of proposal his girlfriend would like and not knowing her well enough to know what she would like, because this was obviously a terrible choice. She hated it. And he didn't know that she would hate it. So I feel like he's a little bit of a bad boyfriend.
It's fair.
You should know your partner better.
Honestly, this story is just making me paranoid that I really screwed up our proposal. Your response to it. It's terrifying, Kristie.
You asked me on a hike at one of my favorite places.
No manicure, though.
But I wouldn't have gotten a manicure anyway, so I'm not paying for that crap. But yeah, I feel like the proposal you did for me was good for the type of person I am. Because I'm not a girly girl. You did it on a hike, which is something I enjoy, so yeah.
Top comment. Don't ask questions you aren't ready to hear the answers to. I mean, I agree with you. A gym is an odd place to propose unless there's a specific reason for it. Like that's where you met and you love that story, or that's how you bond or whatever. He's just upset that he disappointed his fiancé and he needs to come to terms with that.
Yeah, I think he needs to do a do-over.
Yeah, it's probably for the best to do a do-over so it's not hanging over your head, guy.
Yeah, because that's going to hang over. Still, even if he does a do-over, this is going to be something she brings up on your 50th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
She's going to hold a grudge.
It's your only chance to live it down.
A bad proposal, but doing a do-over would greatly, go towards fixing it.
Somebody replied to that. He's not even upset he disappointed her. He's upset she wasn't grateful for a thoughtless proposal. After all, he said OP was shallow. So what does that say about what he thinks about the fiancé? The proposal was basically a shit test, in my opinion.
Yeah, what will she put up with and still keep me?
I never even considered that angle.
How badly can I treat her before she breaks up with me?
God, I hope it's not that bad. Jeez. Is that what a shit test is?
Yes.
Oh, no.
What kind of shit will they put up with and still stay with me?
Oh, that's some terrifying manipulation right there. I'm going to give him more benefit of a doubt than that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Reddit stories about terrible boyfriends who shit test their partners just to see how, how abusive they can be and get away with it.
I don't like that at all. Okay. Well, apparently, girl's line is right around the spot where she's sweaty and gross while you're filming her. So she's got standards.
She didn't break up with him, but she's not happy about it, and she letting him know. If he doesn't get his act together, she might break up with him.
Not the asshole. That's a super weird setting unless they're both major gym rats, and I'm always wary about super public proposals. Because it feels like the person doing the proposal is applying pressure. He asked you, you were honest, and he didn't like your answer. That's 100% on him. My best friend called me shallow. This response actually makes it worse. This feels like the kind of thing that was basically testing the fiancé. Like, is she going to be a cool girl, or will she be disappointed, upset by this thoughtless proposal? If he thinks you're shallow for not liking it, what does he think about her? Your friend doesn't sound like a great dude. I wouldn't want to be proposed to at the gym. Reddit is tearing into this guy.
Yeah. Does he ever reply to anything that you've seen?
Oh, yes. Here's one. Not the asshole. Also, hold on a sec. Did you say women's gym? As in, like, he entered a women's only gym and proposed to her? My boyfriend and I love to go to the gym together, but it would be so uncomfortable if he proposed at our gym, lol. And then OP replied to that one. Yep, a woman's only gym.
And he walked into it? Oh, he's an asshole just for that.
My best friend and his now fiancé had met at a gym, but not that gym. The fiancé has a passion for working out, so my best friend thought the gym would be a special place for her.
No.
This is a place where she goes to get away from men.
Yeah.
Hi, guy.
I know OP is the friend of the guy that proposed. I want the guy who proposed to read all of these and realize how much he screwed up. And also I want more to the story.
In his defense, somebody did reply to that and say, It says a lot that they met at a gym and she now works out somewhere he's not supposed to be, which OP replied to, it's not that deep. The fiancé has a best friend who prefers a women's only gym, so the fiancé had switched gyms so she could spend more time with her bestie.
Okay.
So it's not so that she can get away from boys.
Yeah.
It's so that she could just work out with her friend.
Okay.
Just read one more that OP replied to real quick. Oh god, that's so much worse. Poor girl probably was stressing about him even being there to begin with. You are not the asshole at all, but he totally was, for what he called you and for the proposal. OP replied to that. I hope my best friend doesn't ruin things. His feelings are hurt that she didn't like the proposal, and he's being defensive. That woman loves him. On the video, there was a moment of pure joy during the actual proposal. She was so happy to say yes, but embarrassed about the circumstances. So, do over.
Yeah.
Buddy. It's gonna help.
Am I the asshole to divorce my husband and leave him with the kid after finding out I'm not biologically the mom?
How the hell do you not know you're biologically the mom of someone? Okay.
You'd think it'd be impossible, right?
No, I don't. You're gonna have to explain this one to me.
I, 36 female, have been with my husband, 35 male, for a total of almost 10 years, married for 7. We had what I thought was my child by surrogate over 2 years ago because after 4 years of trying to conceive with no success despite medical interventions, it turns out I am unable to carry a child to term.
Okay, now it makes more sense.
I had always wanted to be a mom. Devastated is an understatement regarding how I felt when I found out I have a medical condition that would make it nearly impossible to carry a baby to term. It was even more upsetting when I had to get major surgery to remove uterine growths with the hope to increase fertility, and complications during surgery warranted a partial hysterectomy involving removal of my uterus only. I still had my ovaries, so we started looking into the cost of a surrogate. It is really expensive. My close friend since college, who'd already had 2 kids of her own, offered to serve as surrogate to us to cut down on costs.
Yeah, surrogates can be expensive. It's hard to say your friend is doing you a big favor since I know how this ends.
After 2 disappointing IVF sessions that did not result in pregnancy, she became pregnant on the 3rd try and carried a boy to term for us. I was so happy and busy after the birth, between being a mom and returning to work after a 4-week parental leave, so I didn't notice any warning signs.
What kind of warning signs?
I should have noticed the red flags and warning signs early on, but did not because I was so exhausted from working so much at my stressful job and 2 part-time jobs to cover most of the bills and anticipated medical and legal costs associated with this friend becoming our surrogate. I was the primary breadwinner. My friend and my husband started talking more, and I would sometimes come home from my weekend job to find her already hanging out at our house when my husband was there. I chalked it up as innocuous, and it's good for her to know my husband better since she was in the process of hopefully carrying our child for us.
Okay, so yeah, you did overlook a couple red flags there.
I was grateful to have someone helping us have a child. I also thought it weird that our son has brown eyes when both of us have blue. Then I found out that while this is uncommon, it's possible sometimes due to many genes controlling eye color.
I mean, yeah, like high school level genetics says it's not, but genes are complicated.
It is possible, but it is very rare. But they've started in biology classes telling you that while this is not common, it is possible because there were too many brown-eyed kids of 2 blue-eyed parents finding out that they were not actually like their dad's kid or they were adopted or something.
Yeah.
Too much was being found out in these biology classes, so biology teachers did start prefacing that it is uncommon, but it is possible. Just so they don't get in trouble.
My biology teacher went the opposite route with that when he told us, because he very proudly told us while we were learning this that have been several kids in his classes over the years that have with brown eyes that found out this because of this lesson.
We stopped doing blood testing in our biology class. Like my older sisters got to do blood typing in their biology class. I didn't get to do it because somebody found out that that is a determining factor on exactly who your parents are. There is no way around that. So they stopped doing that because people were finding stuff out. And they're like, oh, my parents A positive and my dad's B positive and I'm O A.
Okay.
I'm A negative.
So we're going to let the cheating parents just dictate what our kids learn?
Yeah, so that they don't sue us.
I hate the education system sometimes. That is how it goes, though. One parent. And of course they're the asshole parent because they're cheating on their spouse. And they're like, how dare you reveal this fact?
Yeah. Recently, it all came to a head when I took our son to a doctor's appointment and they did a metabolic panel and blood tests which showed that he had a blood type that is not biologically possible to have with me as his mother. He's B positive, I'm A positive, husband is O positive. So where did that B come from?
I have no idea how blood typing works.
A and O would make an A baby.
Okay.
Or an O baby.
Okay.
But the baby is B. Where did the B come from? Immediately, I started worrying it was the fertility clinic's fault and that they'd messed up and implanted a wrong embryo.
I've been waiting kind of patiently, for you to give any evidence that it wasn't the fertility clinic's fault, or that, we don't even know if this is your husband's kid yet.
I started lining up lawyer consultations to possibly sue the clinic and looked into having a DNA parentage test done. The test results showed that I am not the mother, but my husband still is the father. I was heartbroken and angrier than ever. Talked to lawyers about medical malpractice in the fertility clinic we used. Then my husband confessed that he'd slept with my friend, our surrogate, on a few different occasions during our struggle to have her get pregnant with our embryos.
Okay, well that settles it, doesn't it?
This means what I thought was our son conceived by IVF and carried with a surrogate isn't my son at all, and was in fact conceived the old-fashioned way, which I can't ever do. Livid and absolutely broken at the same time doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. I've been breaking down and crying spells over and over again about this. He claims he didn't ever think pregnancy could result because he pulled out, and he has always assumed that he was the reason for our earlier struggles to conceive, both before my hysterectomy and during the IVF insemination process with this friend.
What? Is he just not very involved in the process?
Apparently.
It sounds like he doesn't know.
I think he doesn't know exactly how pregnancy works.
It sounds like it.
I felt an immediate triple betrayal from what was supposed to be my husband, my friend, and now knowing my child isn't even really mine. I had such white-hot rage and delirium, I immediately left home and stayed at a hotel for almost a week before asking my parents to let me stay at home for a while. I admit I left our son with him. I am now filing divorce because he cheated and betrayed me in the worst way possible. I have also cut off my friendship with my friend, the surrogate, and feel afraid to trust anyone else now. I have seen a divorce lawyer to see about giving up my legal rights to this kid, so I don't have to face such betrayal or to owe child support. My husband and friend/surrogate admit they were wrong and keep apologizing, but also called me immature and heartless to just give up on my son like that. My parents also say that I can't just give up on a kid that we went through so many legal and medical hoops to have. When I told them I refused to stay in a cheater marriage and I'd rather adopt someday with a better, more trustworthy partner, they also told me I was wrong and that maintaining my parental rights isn't much different than if I adopted outright. They said it isn't blood that makes a family. They are all about me divorcing my cheater husband, but keep telling me I'm making a mistake to give up on my parental rights. Some of my other friends agree with what I'm doing. A few admitted they weren't big enough to swallow pride and care for an affair baby or to see daily reminders of my friend/surrogate's betrayal every time I look at her son. I just want a clean break and a fresh start. I'm also looking at relocating several states away. Am I the asshole to give up my parental rights in the divorce because of a kid I paid a lot of money to have born by surrogacy isn't biologically mine at all, but the surrogates?
Yeah, that is tough. I mean, family is not blood.
Mm-hmm.
We can agree on that. But also it is tough to look at your kid and realize that that's just a
fair baby.
A symbol of your husband's betrayal.
Yes.
Which is rough on you. It's rough on the kid.
Not only, this is a double whammy because it's not just a symbol of her husband's betrayal. It's a symbol of her husband and her best friend's betrayal.
Yeah. Everyone wants you to be a very big person.
Yeah.
For this. A very big-hearted person. And I don't know. I can't really blame you for not having it in you.
Spin it around if it was a dad, if it was a man whose wife cheated on him, people would be like, you don't have to raise that kid, it's not yours, you know.
I mean, people would be saying the same thing that they're saying to her, I think.
Yeah.
Both sides, right? Yeah, I mean, the kid has two parents. It's just, you're not one of them.
I feel like not only would I be divorcing my husband, filing so that I no longer have parental rights to this kid, I would be suing the surrogate for all the money I spent on these IVF sessions.
Yeah, full scorched earth. I don't know. That is tough. I might just call it good after the cutting off ties because I don't have it in me just wash my hands of it. I don't know. I feel like she's maybe doing what I would do. I can't call her the asshole here.
Yeah. Okay, so she did post a little mini update in the comments. I'm not staying and I'm not caring for him anymore. I was not even offered a choice in the matter at all, which is why I've kept telling myself I shouldn't want to, comparing myself to men in similar types of parentage situations, and have kept myself aloof towards the boy I thought was mine. I have no legal rights anymore, no matter what, because she fought to get her son back. I'm actually a lot more upset about losing this child than I presented in my post, and I'm realizing more and more with each passing day. The choice wasn't mine, and I lost. I posted that I wouldn't want to be a sucker raising someone else's kid as more of a cope than anything. She got to have her kid. He left me. I'm stuck with nothing.
That sucks.
So she kind of like lied her way through that post to make herself feel better.
I can't blame her at all.
Yeah, but she found out that this child is not actually hers. And the surrogate was like, well, that's my baby. I want it back now.
This is everyone's nightmare when it comes to surrogate parentage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a wound that is going to heal quickly. I'm sorry.
I feel like that ruined all the comments because she can't keep the kid even if she wanted to.
It's fair.
But the next top comment is, it would be wonderful if you love the kid enough to stay, but if you're in shock and damaged too much to do so, you aren't the asshole for walking away. NTA, and glad to see most of the replies so far agree. Hope we keep this energy up for anyone put in this spot from now on. But like, yeah, now she's ruined all the comments because she's saying she can't keep the baby even if she wanted to.
How selfish
she does
of
want
her.
to. She's ruining my comment reading.
I feel like I would say the same thing to a guy who was cheated on. You were this kid's parent for 2 years. If it's in your heart, you know, you can still try to be a bit of a parent to him, but I can't blame you if it's not.
OP has no parental obligations, but caring for someone for 2 years is a big deal, and people do get attached.
Yes.
NTA, did you have a contract for the surrogacy? Because you can sue them for scamming. Also for emotional damage. I think your parents aren't thinking about you and your well-being enough.
That's true.
Yeah. Definitely get therapy. She wants to like a clean break and to move states away, but you still need to get therapy, in my opinion.
Get therapy and maybe some legal consultation, although I think you did that.
Yeah.
Because you already apparently got sued for the rights.
NTA, one of the things that gets me is that you were working extra jobs to pay for the surrogacy, which I am assuming included her medical bills and financially supporting her. I would speak to a solicitor about suing her for your money back. She knew that if she was having sex, then there was always a chance that the child was biologically hers.
That is a very good point. You really worked hard as the primary breadwinner. I don't know what your husband was doing, just staying home and sleeping with the surrogate?
I guess so, because she was working a full-time job and 2 part-time jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You might have to sue him.
You deserve that money back.
You deserve that back. This is going to be messy. Like, You're going to end up suing them, and then they're going to be like, well, do you want the kid instead? And they're going to try to bargain away the kid. I don't like this.
Yeah, the whole thing is just very, very messy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Am I the asshole for not canceling long-standing plans so I can attend a barbecue that I just found out about?
Not the asshole. Barbecues are usually pretty low-key and not mandatory attendance. So, no, go do whatever you have planned. I'm trying to think, like, reasons you would be the asshole, but, like, no, I was going to go see a movie that day, but it's, like, a memorial barbecue for your dead uncle. That's all I can think of.
Okay. My wife and I made plans back in January with a group of friends to go to a beer festival in the mountains. My father-in-law has a rental property in the mountains, which we reserved for the weekend, and we all got tickets to the festival. It's 3 families and some other friends, so about 9 people total. The festival is Labor Day weekend, and my grandparents invited us and some other family to a barbecue that weekend. But we won't be able to attend because we're doing the beer festival. I texted my grandpa and let him know we wouldn't be able to make it, because we already had plans that weekend, and he said he understood and that it was no problem. But then my mom texted me, asking why we couldn't come, and I told her why. She told me she's very disappointed, and that I need to make this barbecue a priority, and that I should cancel the plans to go to the beer festival. She then goes on to guilt trip me, saying my grandparents are in their 80s, and we won't have many more opportunities to get together.
Okay. We kept saying, great Grandma Jabrowski, this might be her last year, her last Christmas. We gotta make sure we go see her for Christmas. Yeah, we said that for 20 years. She just never died. Which, I mean, great. You know, she lived a nice old age, but oh my goodness. How many last Christmases did we have with her? So many. I feel like that's not a valid thing to say to someone because unless they like really are like terminally ill. If they're just old, no, that's not no. They're gonna live forever.
I picked this one because your family said that to you about like 3 different grandparents.
Yes. And then my grandma, not my great grandma, my grandma did the same thing. This might be her last Christmas. She lived to 99. No.
For context, we live in the same state and city as my grandparents, and we see them 2 to 3 times a month minimum.
What is so important about this barbecue? There's gonna be other barbecues, probably later in the month.
She told me a beer festival is not a good reason to blow off my grandparents, and that I need to reconsider my priorities. I told her I couldn't cancel. The house is booked, and the tickets are paid for. And I told her that if it was just our family and no friends going, that we'd forego the festival and come to the barbecue, but that I didn't think it was fair to our friends to cancel long-standing plans for a barbecue that we just found out about, not to mention telling them that they'd either have to eat the cost of the tickets or find a different place to rent. I mean, you could still let them use the house.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, you've already spent money on like tickets and things. And it sounds like you see your grandparents a lot.
Yeah.
So what's the big deal if you miss this one event? You'll catch them next week. I don't get it. What is mom's deal?
Well, they don't have much time left.
They're in their 80s. Never mind that like people are living to 103 these days.
I told my mom that if it was any other weekend or even Monday of the long weekend instead of Saturday, that we'd be there, and we aren't blowing them off. It's a scheduling conflict. But she disagrees and is still very pissed off at me. Am I the asshole?
Not the asshole. I could see maybe like if it was like a big event, like Grandpa's 85th birthday party, you know, and it was like a big family gathering for this event, you know, that couldn't be moved.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, but it's just a Labor Day barbecue. That's not a big deal. Your grandpa already said, okay, no problem. What is your mom's problem?
Yeah, it's really not a big deal to miss one family barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if he has other grandkids.
Yeah, I feel like seeing them a few times a month, missing something isn't a big deal. Now, when we were like, this might be grandma's last Christmas, that's because she lived like a few states away and we only saw her like 3 times a year. So it was a big deal going to see grandma, you know? It really might be the last time we see her because we're not going to see her for another 6 months.
And Grandpa's going to live forever.
But he can catch him next week. I'm sure he's going to live till next week.
That's true. Pretty good odds. Top comment. Not the asshole. Tell her she raised you right, to be a reliable and trustworthy guy, someone who doesn't cancel on people or ruin their plans. If she argues, she shoots herself in the foot.
You didn't raise me to bail on people and inconvenience them and cost them money. How rude would that be? You didn't raise me to be rude.
That logic will never work on a mother.
It will not. But family comes first.
She's gonna hit you with a slipper. Don't use my words against me. Not the asshole. You are entirely right in your explanation. My guess is your mom has been doing stuff like this your entire life. This is just the latest instance. To which OP replies, bingo, she 100% has been doing this to me for my whole life. My parents are divorced also, so the holidays have always been guilt trip central. Especially now that I have a wife who also has family we want to see. It's a mess.
He's getting pulled in 3 different directions. His wife's family, his dad, and his mom. Yeah.
And his friends.
Yeah.
Now there's friends.
4 directions.
Yeah.
Many directions. Am I the asshole for making a dairy-free cake with eggs?
Okay. This is one of those things that's a pain in the ass. Because you're right, that is not a dairy-free cake. But back in like grade school in the 90s, they taught us that eggs were part of dairy. Yeah. So a lot of people think they're dairy.
It's next to the milk in the
food pyramid.
I was gonna say it's next to milk in the grocery store. They put it in the dairy section.
It is next to milk in the grocery store too. But back in the day when we learned about the food pyramid, eggs and milk were in one category.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people think that eggs are dairy.
Which is wrong.
Yes.
My friend invited me over for dinner. Our tradition is to bring food when invited to dinner. I asked if I should bring a dessert. She said that would be great, but it needs to be dairy-free because her daughter stopped eating dairy. I know a great cake recipe with no dairy. I brought it to the dinner and it was a big hit. My friend asked for the recipe and I told her. When I got to the eggs, her daughter became upset and ran upstairs. My friend asked why I put eggs in the cake. I said the eggs were responsible for the spongy texture. She said the cake wasn't dairy-free. I said it was. There is no milk or milk products in the cake. No cheese, no butter, etc. My friend said eggs are dairy. I was confused. Dairy is milk and milk products, to my understanding.
Yeah.
She said dairy is anything that comes from an animal.
What? That's a crazy definition. Meat is dairy?
Maybe not meat, like anything that an animal produces.
Oh, okay. So just anything an animal produces.
I asked if honey was dairy then. She said no because bees are insects.
Ah, this is just going all sorts of places. I love it.
I apologized, but I could tell she was still upset.
What about fish eggs?
Yeah. Eggs, the eggs are dairy.
Fish aren't animals.
That's a good point. I was like, because insects are totally animals.
If insects aren't animals, neither are fish.
Yeah, because eggs are not a milk product, so they're not dairy, and insects are totally animals, so she's just all sorts of wrong here. She needs to go back to Biology 101.
You should have made the cake with caviar, is what I'm saying.
I apologized, but I could tell she was still upset. Am I the asshole? I've never heard of eggs being dairy before.
What about snake eggs? Can you use snake eggs?
Okay, I think when she said her daughter is dairy free, she really meant vegan.
Sure sounds like it.
So, fun fact.
Uh-huh.
If you don't have eggs, you can replace eggs with an equal volume of blood.
But that's an animal product.
But it's not dairy. It's more like meat, right?
Not by her definition, anything that comes from an animal is dairy. There was no point where you disproved that theory, okay? You can't just grind up a turkey thigh in there.
What if you used your own blood and then it was not from an animal? It's human blood. Does that count as cannibalism?
Yes. I'm almost certain it does.
But what about when you cut your finger and you're like, does that count as cannibalism? Because you're eating you're ingesting your own blood.
Not to a weird extent.
Self-cannibalism.
You're just making this so weird, Kristie. I mean, it was weird to start with, and then you're like, what if we use human?
Human blood in a cake.
You couldn't even just be like, well, why don't we use cricket flour?
It's not going to cause the same spongy consistency as eggs. That's just like adding more flour, and then flour's not the issue.
Uh-huh. There must be a egg substitute. I mean, there are. There are egg substitutes.
What are they made of?
That's what I don't know.
I don't know.
Human blood. We're about to learn a dark secret about all the vegans in the world. Vampires. Your friend's a crazy person. I don't know what to tell you. Or maybe not crazy, just uneducated. Next, ask her if water is wet. And it is. Water is wet.
Top comment, eggs are not dairy. If she wanted vegan, she needed to say vegan because it's not the same as dairy-free. And now in the comments, people are fighting about whether honey is vegan or not.
It's vegan, isn't it? It doesn't come... Well, I don't know. Because milk isn't vegan.
No, it's an animal product.
So honey must not be vegan then.
Most vegans I know consider honey to be an animal product.
Yeah.
I had a vegan tell me that he eats honey, but the other vegans derisively called him a began.
Ah, we have a slur for this, okay.
Yes. You're like a vegan, but you still eat honey, so you're not a real vegan, you're a began. And now people in the comments are fighting about if anything that comes from an animal is dairy. Is poop dairy?
I was trying not to go there.
Oh, someone in the comments did, and now there's a big fight.
Yeah. I don't know why there's a big fight, because that's not the definition of dairy. So I think if people are just...
By the friend's definition, though.
Apparently. And in that case, sure, because if you put that in a cake, I'm gonna fight you. Whether or not it's dairy, we're throwing hands.
Pretty much everyone says your friend is an idiot, not the asshole. Eggs are not dairy.
Yeah.
But I do understand why some dumb people might think that it is, because it was in the food pyramid with the dairy. And
it's in the dairy section.
Are in the dairy section at the grocery store usually.
Yeah.
Yep. That can be confusing if you're not smart.
So birds are animals.
Yes.
Insects are not animals.
No, insects are animals. Insects are not mammals.
No.
Birds are not mammals.
By her definition.
Oh.
I don't need a science lesson.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah, Josh. Insects are animals.
No.
What the heck?
I was just trying to think of where her line must be. Because birds are animals, mammals are animals. I want to know where reptiles fall.
Where do reptiles and fish fall?
And amphibians.
Insects? No. Birds and mammals? Yes.
Okay.
Fish
Fish,
and
I bet.
reptiles.
My bet is that fish are a no. Fish are not animals. Because they live in the water, which is weird. I don't know. It's a thinker. But it shouldn't be. I feel like we're putting in too much brain power.
Maybe fish and reptiles and amphibians and insects are not animals because they are not endothermic. They do not produce their own body heat.
I see. I assumed it was some sort of cuteness scale.
Oh.
In which case, turtles are probably animals.
Because they're adorable!
Because they're adorable. But a snake?
Not
an animal. Frogs are too slimy to be animals, so they're out. Okay.
Okay.
And fish are weird because they don't breathe air, so they're not animals.
Okay.
We've figured out the French scale, I think. Am I the asshole for putting googly eyes on all the food in the fridge to prevent snacking?
I have so many questions. Is it to prevent yourself from snacking and other people are upset? Is it to prevent other people from eating your snacks? What? Whose food are you putting it on? Yours or someone else's? How? I don't know.
My roommate eats everything. I'll buy a pack of cheese sticks and they're gone by morning. I asked nicely, then labeled stuff, no change. So I got creative. I bought a pack of stick-on googly eyes and put them on everything. Milk, eyes, leftover spaghetti, judging you. Even taped one to a banana.
Just one?
Just
Cyclops banana?
Yes. It worked. He said it creeped him out, and he stopped eating my stuff.
I feel like not only do you need to do the googly eyes, you need to angry eyebrows. Angry eyebrows on everything. Don't eat me, I'm so angry.
Now he says I'm being passive-aggressive and creating an emotionally hostile refrigerator.
What?
Am I the asshole for turning the fridge into a surveillance horror movie to stop my food from vanishing?
This is ridiculous. I don't think googly eyes would stop me from eating food.
I mean, maybe they just, writing your name on something was whatever, but once the food is watching you, you know that you're committing theft.
Not the asshole. You gotta save your food from theft, however you gotta save your food. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Just gonna need a bucket of googly eyes.
I feel like googly eyes was a weird way to go, but it is less nefarious than a lot of other things people do, like sabotage-wise.
You didn't booby-trap the food.
Yeah.
You just made a judgy banana.
Judgy Cyclops banana.
Yeah. So I would say he's not the asshole for creating an emotionally hostile refrigerator.
I mean, if he's only putting it on his food, no, not the asshole.
That would be hilarious. Start going to other food.
Yeah.
Because you bought a pack of cheese sticks and they're gone by morning. You gotta calm down, guy.
Oh my goodness, he's gonna have tummy issues.
Right?
You can't eat that much cheese in one sitting. I mean, I know we all want to, but don't do it.
Yeah, we've all tried at some point in our lives, but that is probably like a pound or two of mozzarella.
Yeah, I don't know. That should not all be eaten in one sitting.
No.
Not if you like your intestines.
Top comment. I think you should put a sign on the fridge door that says emotionally hostile refrigerator.
Yes.
And googly eyes on the fridge.
Get giant googly eyes, if it's like a double door, put one on each door, and you need to get the angry eyebrows.
You need the angry eyebrows,
yeah.
I feel. Can you get little, gloves there?
Pointing?
Yeah, pointing gloves.
I don't want pointing ones. What angry teeth.
This food bites back.
Yeah. I don't want hands. I just want an angry face. The hands make it weird.
So if I got hands for the food, you would stop eating it. Would this work on you?
No, I like food too much.
You'd snack less is what I mean, though, if the food had little hands.
No, I like food too much. I would be distraught by the hands and creeped out, but I'd still eat that food. It would not stop me.
Reddit agrees with you, by the way. Angry eyes.
Yes.
And a speech bubble saying, because fuck you for stealing from me. And somebody replied, I'm having flashbacks to the furnace in Home Alone.
I have never seen Home Alone all the way through.
You've never seen Home Alone?
Nope. I have seen the clip where the hot doorknob and marbles. That's all I've seen.
They have the most terrifying furnace in the world in their basement.
Uh-huh.
And at the beginning of the movie, he's scared to go down there because it like starts clanking and making terrifying noises, and it traumatized all of us as children.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't see that. I've never seen Home Alone. I think my mom didn't want us getting any ideas. So she just like, let's just not watch that.
That's fair. You were a very impressionable youth.
Me and my sisters would have been booby trapping each other all over the place, and mom didn't want that.
I asked nicely, then labeled stuff no change. It's not passive-aggressive if you discuss the problem in person and asked him to stop, and he ignored you. You just got creative in how to address it. I can't think why it worked, but since it did, more power to you.
Yeah, that is not the route I would have taken,
No.
Because that seems weird and I wouldn't think that would work. But if it's working for you, I mean, I guess it's good.
Tell him if he agrees to not ever eat your labeled food, and doesn't, you'll restore the refrigerator to its pre-surveillance condition. Unless and until he starts stealing food again. Other than that, pretty much all the comments are just people saying that they love the phrase emotionally hostile refrigerator.
Mm-hmm. That's our last story for today. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
If you like this, give us a follow, and we'll see you next time.